Good morning and welcome to Homepage, a public affairs feature of 93.7 K Country and Wind FM 95.5, 92.5, and 107.9. I'm Bob Moody, and my guest this morning is Summer Gill. She is with us from the Marion County Literacy Council. Welcome to the program,
Thank
Summer.
you for having me.
Summer, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do there, and then we'll get into some more questions.
Alrighty. My name's Summer. I am a longtime resident, full-time. I was born here, born at the Old Monroe, and so Ocala is my home. I'm very dedicated to making Marion County the best that it can be. I sit on a lot of boards. I'm involved in a lot of city downtown things. I live downtown, work downtown, so I'm very passionate about that. And then, I'm an executive director of the Literacy Council. So I always joke with people that I live by Gandhi's motto of be the change you want to see in the world. So if I want to change something, I better be involved in it. And so I really try to do that in our community. And one of the ways that I really love doing that is with my work at the Literacy Council and helping adults learn how to read, get their GED, learn English, get their citizenship. But most importantly, I look at it as a way empowering people to help themselves and their family and our community as they learn and they educate themselves.
Marion County Literacy Council, tell us a little bit about that organization.
So a lot of people don't realize that we've been around for 20 years. This is our 20th year, which is pretty exciting. It began as an organization that was very focused on just helping people learn how to read. That was the initial desire of the founder, Barbara. And as the years went on, we started to recognize that there were other areas in the community that were at need, and those included folks getting their GED and learning English. And so now in its 20th year, we have about 50% of our students are those who are trying to learn English. They come from everywhere around the world. It's pretty incredible to walk into a classroom. And then we have those who are, learning how to read and getting their GED. We offer citizenship classes, computer literacy, financial literacy, health literacy, any of the areas that somebody can grow. We even help people prepare for their TEAS tests, which they have to take to get into nursing. Right now we're helping somebody with their ACT because of weird graduation rules. So we're really about improving people's lives. And one sort of shocking statistic to some it's not, is that about 20% of our population cannot read above fifth grade level. So when we talk about the impact on Marion County and our citizens not having the literacy skills that they need, we're talking about a large one, and it impacts every area. And so whether that's the school system, that's our finances, or definitely our judicial system, our healthcare system, that's the areas that we're trying to impact by helping our students really improve their literacy in all different areas.
Okay, you talked about teaching English.
Mm-hmm.
How does someone find out about the Literacy Council?
We actually don't do very much advertising. We don't have to, mainly because of word of mouth. I would say that most of our students hear from someplace else that are a friend or family that we exist, but we actually offer classes for English all across the Marion County. So Denellen, Marion Oaks, Bellevue, and different areas. We meet people where they are, and that's kind of how they find out about our program. Also, folks from immigration send them here. A lot of times people don't realize that certain requirements for different people, so they have to be in schools. So we work with them to complete some of their immigration requirements, which is pretty awesome because that also usually means that they're working to get their citizenship, which we help people get. Last year, we were able to get 5 people their U.S. citizenship, and we have about 10 that are in a class right now for that.
The 20%, are you saying that 20% cannot read above fifth grade?
Yeah.
Is that for Marion County, or is that statewide, nationwide?
It's pretty consistent across the country. There are some areas that are Florida and across the country that are 13, 14. So we're at the higher end of that. The last time, unfortunately, that it was really studied and a national survey was done was in 2003. So we're working with old numbers, unfortunately, but we do know that that's fairly consistent with what is seen across different areas. If you talk to healthcare, anybody in the healthcare field, field, anybody in the judicial field, any areas such as that, you'll start to see that those numbers are very consistent, that 20%. And when we're talking about a fifth grade, we're talking about functional literacy. So they're able to read street signs, maybe they're able to look at some documents and understand them, but we're not talking about what we're used to thinking about people being able to read. Maybe a big issue is they can't read to their child a book.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand the documents that schools send home. They don't understand the prescriptions that their doctors are sending them, the surgical orders that somebody is giving them, things like that. There's anything complicated, they're not understanding. And that's a scary thought when you think that they have families, they're trying to live a life, they're trying to live a legal life. And there's so many barriers to that. There's different reasons now why somebody has not learned to read. Sometimes maybe they were taken out of school for a reason. We do have quite a few homeschoolers who, once they get to a certain age, they come to us as adults and say, this was never taught to me. Maybe there was a learning disability that was not caught. Everybody has their own story. What I usually say is that somebody failed them, whether it was a school system, a parent, a foster care, whatever it is, somewhere somebody failed them in catching this issue. I know that right now we are looking at a lot of third graders. I think is what 50% of third graders cannot read at the level that they are. So those are the kids that become our students as adults, because we're not catching it. We're not doing the things we have to do to educate them. And it's a scary prospect, that as they get older, they even lose that. A lot of times people don't realize that math is considered a literacy skill.
Yes.
And we find that most of our students stop learning math at fractions. About every student that walks in that has to do math, that's where it really sort of fell apart for them. Well, that's about third grade as well. That's a pretty important area in time period where we start to lose people. And once you've had a failure, those failures keep coming because they lose confidence, they lose the ability to do well in school, and they look to alternate means to sustain themselves and their families. So that 20% may seem large to some people, to others it may seem small. I consider it unacceptable that it should always be smaller. We're the number one country in the world, and if you go to a lot of areas of the world, it's their population can read at 97, 98%.
I also see that more than 55% of Marion County's residents read below the middle functioning level of literacy.
So that's even upping that amount of people who cannot read. Like so let's say when you start a new job and they give you all the paperwork that they give you for a new job, that group can't understand that paperwork. Or maybe they can't understand the instructions for the manufacturing equipment that they're going to be working on. So, we're talking about, again, helping their children. That's a big one. I always talk about that because a lot of times there is a stigma about, well, they're an adult. They had all the opportunities that they had. No, they didn't. But now that's influencing their children too. And, there's a cycle of education. So that middle functioning, is a lot larger because it encompasses more things that they don't understand.
So you can help remove that chain. Take that link out. So what do you consider an adult?
We actually, it's always going to be 18. For 18 and above. But in most literacy circles, it's actually 16 and above because that's when a child can decide if school is something they want to continue in or not. So we can help them with their GED. There are some weird rules for getting your GED under 18, but we can work with them on that. So we consider it 16 and above that we'll start working with them. We have started to see quite a large need of teenagers and younger kids needing tutors. So, in the future, that might change the way that our mission looks. But for right now, it's adults 16 and above that we work with. And I would, about 62% of our population of our students fall between 19 and 45, to kind of give you an idea.
Where would someone find out how to get tutoring?
Honestly, social media is a great place. We're super active on social media. You can go to our website. If you just look up literacy, Literacy Ocala, we're probably going to be the number one thing to pop up. And then you can also call 211, which is a program through United Way that will alert you to services in your community. So they would let you know that, we offer reading and GED services. So, calling some of the places in town and just recognizing we're in the Google's your best friend for most of us.
Yeah.
So I know today I Googled a whole bunch of things already. And so that's the best way to find us is just Google, Marion County literacy or, learn to read in Ocala or something like that. And we will fall. We should pop up.
Yeah, I found out about the 211 a little while back. We had the United Way here, on our program, and they were talking about United Way, and then so they are part of your support. They could be a referral for you.
Absolutely. We 211 is a free information and referral service for anything social service. So anybody that has a need in a social service area can call them 211 on their phone, all that. So that's fantastic. And then United Way is a funder of ours, so they give us a grant recipient for decades now, and I hope that continues. So without United Way, we could not do the work that we do. We are a very, very small program. We only have 2 staff members, and everybody else is volunteers. We are very blessed to have a good relationship with Rasmussen, so we get some of their work studies who are helping. It's, the federal loan work study program, so they can come in and help us do front desk and things like that. But we are very small, and so every dollar counts for us.
You mentioned Rasmussen.
Rasmussen.
That is a college here in Ocala, correct?
Yes. So a long time ago, the some of the people who were employees over there wanted to work with us, and they have a lot of their students get loans from the government, and they have work study programs. So they have in turn allowed us to be one of their places that a work study can go. So one is obviously they can work at the college, or they can come to us. And so that's been very helpful in getting us just sort of like that help. The front desk is probably the biggest because we don't have anybody else at the front desk to do sort of assistant work. A lot of them do like to tutor, so they've been tutoring, and it's been really helpful for us to have a steady support that we don't have to finance. They're basically a volunteer for us, paid by however that Rasmussen work study program works. So that's been really wonderful. The other great program that we work with that no one sort of realizes, we work with the Equal Opportunity Program at CF and the College of Central Florida. And a lot of our students are now able to get their GED for free through that program. They have to qualify financially, and there's a couple of very small, really, qualifications. All of our students have fit into it, and they're able to go through that program. Their GED is paid for, and then this college works with them to get them into college or get into a certificate program, so that it's just not like, hey, I got my GED, okay, now what? It's, hey, I got my GED, what's the next step? And that's really important to continue that line of questioning of like, what do you want to do? How are we going to get you there? So that's been probably, I would say this last year, the most exciting thing that's happened. We have a large success in that because when I first started 5 years ago, we were finding that people just couldn't afford to take the GED. And I think that's extremely sad to think that you have a student, the only thing standing between them and a job is $130. And so to be able to take that away, that financial issue away from them has been such a blessing. And we've been able to get, it takes away that financial barrier. And I like to tell students all the time, because fear is money, 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 always. I say, listen, we will figure it out. We'll figure out how to get you through. We'll figure out how to pay for these things, because once you start to improve your education, your life changes so drastically. We know that 100 hours of adult tutoring can change somebody's income by $10,000. I don't
Oh,
want
my.
100. Yeah, exactly. You
Wow.
think about that, what that impact makes on your life.
Yes.
I don't want $130 or $28, $48 for somebody to be the reason why they can't increase their
Hmm.
income by such drastic amount. So we that program has been a lifesaver for us and for our students.
Someone is getting their GED.
Hmm.
They have completed that and they want to continue on into college. Do they have to qualify for tutoring to help them continue in that college education?
No, no. So one of the things that we see is that once they get through us, so everybody with us is through tutor. We have volunteer tutors. Thank God. We always need new tutors. I will
Hmm.
always ask for tutors out there. They tutor with their person, and then once they reach whatever their goal is, so our students set their own goal. Because it's very hard to say, like, okay, my goal for if I want to learn how to read, there isn't like a place that you get that's where you've learned how to read. You can
Hmm.
always read better. You can always learn more.
Hmm.
So we have our students set their goals. So some people it's read the Bible is one of theirs. We've had quite a few of those, or read this one book, or read the newspaper is a big one.
Right.
So once they reach their goals and we figure out what they want to do next, we will support them in trying to get into whatever program they want to do. And so like I said, for the TEAS test, we'll help them study for that to get into nursing school, or um, the ASVAB, which you have to take to get in the military. We've helped quite a few people do that. So we just offer them the tutoring to do that. The only requirement is that um, they're in a need and we have somebody that can help them do that. You know, that's the biggest, is making sure.
What about someone that's already graduated
Hmm.
from high school? They are in college and they
Hmm.
need some help.
They could come to us if we have somebody. So the most colleges offer some sort of tutoring incentive. Like they
Hmm.
have some, tutors. So if they're in calculus, the likelihood is we would have a hard time matching them up with somebody
Right.
who's in
Right.
calculus. But there's a lot of things that we can find somebody. I would never say no. I would say we'll see if we have somebody that can help, or if there's a better opportunity, because our volunteers are so precious. We don't want to have them sort of bogged down with somebody who could find a tutor at the college to help with that, or could go to, their professor to get help. But if somebody is in that circumstance where they need a little bit extra help, we can do
Hmm.
that. Like I mentioned nursing. Well, we happen to have a lot of nursing work studies. So we've been able to help people tutor for nursing because of that. So I would never say no. I'd say, let's see if we can figure it out. And people who know me, including my board and my staff, will tell you that that's one of my better qualities and one of my worst qualities is I say, we'll figure it out. Yes, and we'll figure it out.
You define the adult as age 16 and above,
Hmm.
but you have other programs other than just tutoring or getting a GED. Tell us more about that.
So we have our computer literacy. And I was at a conference one time and somebody mentioned this story, and I thought it was such a perfect example. So we have this sort of stereotype that those that need computer literacy are older and they don't know what they're doing, but we
Hmm.
actually have it quite young come in. And, it's understanding how computers work, how to set up an email. You cannot apply for a job, you can't do anything without an email. So we help them do that. We really work hard to help them understand some of the basic, like Word and Excel, doing some of the basic things there. And so computer literacy, the story that I was going to tell was that somebody said, okay, I want you to move the mouse on the computer screen. And this was like a 25-year-old. And the person said, took the mouse and put it on the computer screen and was
Hmm.
like, it's not working. And that let the instructor realize, like, wow, I mean, this is, basic. And so people don't realize that, it can be that basic of a skill to how to
Hmm.
turn on a computer to, doing Excel and some of the more difficult. I know that in our board retreat that we just had last week, many of the executives on the board said that there's a great need for support in Microsoft Word and Excel, especially Excel, and helping employees understand how to use them, feel comfortable with them, and all that kind of stuff. So we
It
help with that.
it can get very complicated with
Yes,
that.
it can. It can. And then we also offer financial literacy
Hmm.
and health literacy. And those areas are still growing a little bit, and we're really looking to make an impact in health. We have two board members that are from both hospitals, so we are looking for more strategic ways to help them and help either the folks that work at the hospitals or help our community better understand why health is literacy is so important. I know
Hmm.
I just listened to a webinar about the impact of not being able to read instructions after surgery and how those folks end up back in critical care after that. And then financial literacy is extremely important because we don't really teach it in school, but how to check your credit, how to, get a house, how to balance, well, people don't have checkbooks, but how to balance their
Account.
checking account
Hmm.
and all those things. People don't know how to do that. And we've gone to several different places, and every single time people raise their hand, they're like, I have no idea how to do this. And when you start working, we work with a lot of offenders. We work with a lot of programs that help, rehab addicts and things like that. And that's almost the number one thing they always say is, I've screwed up my finances so bad, I don't know how to fix it. So we try to work with them and help them, kind of understand the basis of it because it's really confusing.
Where do you do the tutoring or any of the type of education? Do you have certain facility there that you go
Oh, yeah.
to?
So we're located right downtown next to the main
Hmm.
post office. So it's actually the old Goldman Appliance building for those that are from Ocala. But that's where we are. We have actually pictures of students on the building. So the other landmark people know is Southside Deli. So I say either one of those. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I've been passing you a ton. That's where our main office is. But we really focus hard on getting out to people where they are. Transportation is such an issue in our community. So we want
Yes.
to make sure that that's not the barrier for somebody's education. So that's why, as long as it is a public place, we can meet a person to help them. So we're also working really hard to kind of have stronger programs within areas where we know there's a need. So we've been known to help at the probation offices to offer
Hmm.
tutoring. We are at the Phoenix House. We're having huge success at the Phoenix House. We're at the centers. Like I said, Marion Oaks, we have a ton of classes. Churches have brought us in, so we really try to meet people where they are, so that transportation barrier is not there.
The two of you on staff do not go out there. You're talking
We
about your
do.
tutors.
We do
Oh, you
actually.
do?
I probably do it a little bit less just because I'm do so many other things. But my program coordinator, we actually spent a good time this morning trying to figure out our schedule because she does go out there and help tutor. Because if we don't have a tutor to fill
Hmm.
a specific class, then or if a tutor goes on vacation for a couple weeks, she's the one who will go out there when it comes to the classes, the ESOL classes. It's we do fill in there. I have actually tutored before myself. We're not above that because we want to make sure that we're helping as many people as we can. Obviously, the way to fix that is more volunteers. And the number one question I get asked over again is like, do I have to have any sort of credentials? Do I have to have an education background? Absolutely not. We can take anybody
Hmm.
and make them into a tutor. And it's a very, very rewarding job to have, even though it's a free job. It's a very it's the they come back and they always say to us, I think this helped me more than it helped the person.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will teach, they'll come in and say, I only have 3 hours a week. I only have this. And then they end up doing 3 classes or end up having 4 students. So it's really amazing. We offer the training. We offer all the tools. If they need a tool, we'll try to get it. We are their support system. And the reason why we don't do a lot of advertising to get students is because we have to have the tutor base to do that, and that's where we need the most need. And that's again, like, if you're looking for a volunteer opportunity, it's a pretty amazing one to come to us about, and we'll help you get there and feel comfortable doing it.
You mentioned earlier United Way helps with funding. Is there any other funding that you have? Tell us about that.
So we are blessed with United Way funding. This year we have a grant from the county that will help us with some training and computers and just database, some of the stuff that like we can't find money for. So thank God the county's there to help us with that. And then everything else is privately. We might receive a grant or two from like Dollar General, some smaller areas, some smaller bank grants. Closet Maid just came in with a pretty significant corporate sponsorship. And then above that, events, individual donors and events. And, I last year we had, I don't know, probably like 6 new events that popped up that really impacted us in good ways to bring, because usually when we do that, we have tutors who start to come on board, and that's another way for students to find out about us. So it's that normal events, donors, and a little bit of grants. So that's how we kind of sustain ourselves. And I would suggest if you want to get involved, that's a great way to help us. Your money goes a long way. It helps for books. It helps for our, make sure the programs are really running well. And the other one is room rental. So we, as long as it fits into our mission, you can use our offices, and just give a donation. We actually house Fine Arts for Ocala in our office, which I'm on the board for. So that's a piece of heart for me. And the United Way VITA program works out of our office as well. And so that's been a nice sort of way of us to get some extra money because there's only 2 of us and we do focus on the mission. Fundraising is just a part of that. So that helps a lot as well.
Do you have any events coming up?
Yes. So we just finished our Big Kiss the Horse event, which is our largest event of the year. But we are going to have our cornhole, which it'll be the 2nd annual cornhole tournament. And I believe that's going to be in October, November. We're still working out the logistics on that. And we're going to be having a literacy breakfast coming up.
So you'll let us know when that
Absolutely.
event's coming up. And we'll put it on the air for you.
Awesome. Yes, absolutely.
You have a mission statement, and you also have a vision. And touch on that for just a moment.
Sure. So our mission statement, our board director, RJ, really helped us sort of change and evolve this. And without reading it completely, you can go on our website and read it. But the biggest part of that is really helping. Our programs are there to enhance people's personal and professional circumstances. And that is the number one thing. We really live by core values of respect and dignity. It is hard to admit that you have an issue like this, and we want people to feel comfortable coming in. We want them to feel committed, engaged. We want to empower people. Empower is my favorite word. And we want to empower people to change their lives so that they can go out and create the life they've always wanted. People are told no every day of their lives growing up. In just different circumstances. And we're there to tell them, yes, you are worth taking this time for yourself. Yes, you can do better. And we will be there and we will support you in every way possible.
How can they contact you?
You can call our office at 352-690-7323. That's 690-READ. Is what it spells out to be. You can also go to our website, which is marionliteracy.org, or you can go to our Facebook, which is Marion Literacy Council, and find us.
All right. Summer, thank you for being with us today. My guest, Summer Gill, and she is from the Marion County Literacy Council. Homepage is presented as a public affairs feature of 93.7 K Country and Wind FM 95.5, 92.5, and 107.9. We welcome your comments. Please email me. Our email address is homepage@ncfmgroup.com. That's homepage@ncfmgroup.com. You can listen to Homepage by going to our websites, 937kcountry.com or windfm.com. I'm Bob Moody, hoping you'll join us next Sunday for another edition of Homepage.